Good evening, everybody, and welcome to beautiful Indianapolis, Indiana for tonight's race here at the CritterGrub. I gotta get that right. 150 at the Brickyard. My name is Josh. Alongside me tonight, Alan. Welcome, Alan.
Get it? Good to be here.
Yeah, we got a good one here tonight. Of course, Indianapolis, presented by IROC Challenge Series. Also sponsored by Loud Pedal Gaming, R&R Racewear, Hydrotech PC, and infamous Indiana, where obviously everyone that knows racing pretty much knows this track. Brickyard is one of the most popular races here as well too. The Indy Series comes out here, so it's going to be interesting to see how the guys in the ARCA Series can get it done here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. These cars definitely sliding quite a bit, especially going into the turns. So these guys are really going to have their hands full throughout the day. We'll see if they can keep it from going around, and that's definitely easier said than done. I think we saw a spin on the screen just now, just a few seconds ago. But looking at the timing for this practice session, Brian McCann is definitely going to be the car to beat. His best lap was a 52.775. The second best lap, his brother Kevin McCann with a 53.134. That's almost half a second between the best and the second best lap. So we definitely know who the car to beat is here today.
Yeah, the McCanns are seeming to be dominating throughout. Definitely Brian McCann will bring up the standings here. He's currently coming in as the leader. He's pretty much been the leader throughout the whole series, actually, now that we're 7 races in. Currently sitting in that first place position with 249 points, but only 39 points behind him, Neil Quick, who's kind of been all over the place the last few races, but not too bad. Still sticking with that second place position. His brother Kevin McCann is sitting in third. Chris Wally in fourth. Evan Faust in fifth, who actually had a really good showing last week over at Gateway as well. Joshua Funkhauser sitting in sixth. Mike Harper in seventh. Jarrett Widener in eighth. Brandon Medford, who I do believe, if I remember correctly, missed Worldwide last week, still sitting in ninth. And then Alan Warnecke kind of rounding out the top 10 there. I haven't seen too much of Chris Medford. We kind of, obviously the last 2 races now, he's pretty much dominated, and seems to be the only person that can really give the McCanns a run for their money. But I'm seeing he's about 6th fastest in practice right now, so I wonder how that will correlate later in the race.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see, yeah, if he can keep that momentum going. He had 10 incidents, is what I'm seeing in the live timing. So he seems to be struggling with the car a little bit here tonight. But who knows? He might be just trying to catch everybody off guard and then come back and be strong for the actual race. So just have to wait and see.
Absolutely, and we'll go over tonight's race info as well. We're looking at 60 laps here at Indy. We got 2 sets of tires. It seems that they've kind of gone up on the tire limits now. We kind of started with 1. Now we're starting to dabble with 2. Fast repair still sitting at 1, which Indy's such a big track and there's so much space coming through the chutes and on the straights that hopefully these guys can give some room. And even if there is a wreck, just from the little knowledge I have of racing here, you can pretty much avoid wrecks kind of easily as long as it doesn't jumble up the front and back stretch. But at a track like this, you don't ever really see that.
Yeah, but the issue is if you do get in a wreck, you have a pretty high chance of getting a considerable amount of damage. So that fast repair is definitely going to be used strategically here today. Don't think it'll be as bad as, Dover or one of those tracks where, you're just, it's damage after damage, when for these cautions. But for that time where you do get caught up in a wreck, that's definitely going to come in handy, especially if you can hold on to it for later in the race.
Absolutely. And we're still sitting at 3 green, white, checkered, so I don't believe that's going to be changing. But something you might see on here if you've been following us the last few races is the cautions. So you see on here the cautions are off, but they're actually being thrown by Alan. So he's going to be in the booth, and he's also going to be throwing some flags here tonight. So this is a first for us in general, and we're hoping to kind of alleviate some of the pain that we have around cautions that slows the action down a little bit. So we're hoping to see what it brings as far as racing is concerned. So can you kind of go through that a little bit with us, Alan?
Yeah, it's just obviously the intent is to have a lot less cautions than what we're used to seeing, especially those times where it's just a single car or even just two cars getting to each other and not having a lot of damage. But yeah, there's a couple of different factors involved. If there's more than one car involved and there's a lot of damage for at least one of them, the caution will fly. Anytime there's a spin and there's traffic behind the spin, there's going to be a caution. Anything involving three or more cars, there will be a caution. I mean, that's really the gist of it. There's a few things that I'm sure there will be one at some point to where I'm going to second guess whether to throw it or not. But it should make for a much cleaner race and should make it a lot more exciting to see some good green flag runs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of to help with the single car spins and everything else around that as well. So we're hoping that we can kind of slow down the amount of cautions we have each week and see what we can do with that. But we're in qualifying. We got about 2.5 minutes to go. Looking at Brian McCann right now, looking at his current lap, which is going to be, I think this is his second lap out, or it might be his first lap from his out, and he is going to restart that one, it looks like. Did not like how that one was looking, so he's going to give it a restart. We're going to move on to Neil Quick's currently sitting in second in our standings. He runs a 52.91. That's going to put him in second as well too. Kevin McCann just a little bit quicker, looking at a 52.83 as his best lap, which is going to put him in the lead currently. So we'll see if Neil can get something done here on his second lap.
Yeah, we'll see if Brian McCann can top Kevin's best lap, and if practice is any indication, he will be able to do that. He was in the 52.7s, but Kevin McCann was in the 53s, as well as Neil Quick and Evan Faust, and they have both broken the 53-second lap, and now Chris Mefford has as well. So a lot of these guys, maybe they were holding back during practice a little bit.
Yeah, it's starting to look like it. Neil Quick is going to be a little bit slower on his second, so he's going to stay in that second place position. Go back to Brian McCann here, finishing his out lap. Let's see what he can run. It looks like Chris Medford in the 46 is currently in third with a 52.96. So someone who was struggling a little bit in practice, finding his groove in qualifying. Do you think Brian can get a solid lap down here and challenge his brother for that pole position?
Yeah, definitely. He got through turn 2 beautifully this earlier in this lap, and you see just really smooth in that turn. He is sliding the car a little bit, getting the rear quarter panel really close to that wall. He's got to be careful not to make contact with the wall coming off the floor, and he does that. So yeah, I think we're about to see a really good lap here.
Yeah, he's coming down the front stretch here on his last lap. This is going to be a fast lap. Yeah, 52.5. Oh my God. He's literally 0.3 faster than his brother. So Brian McCann is going to be putting a lead, and I think he's just not even going to worry about a second lap.
No, that was an impressive one right there.
I mean, I don't know the speed of these cars at this track, but seeing from what we were looking at practice, and a 52.5 is insane. And like you're saying, he was kind of sliding off of turn 2, going onto the backstretch there as well too, but it didn't really seem to slow him down much. Imagine if he didn't slide the tires coming off at 2, how much faster that lap time could have been.
Yeah, I think most of that lap time was made up. If you can keep your left tires in between the line and that strap beside the grass, the strip beside the grass, then that's going to make for a very fast time, and that's exactly what he was able to do there.
We're going to bring up tonight's grid, sponsored by R&R Racewear. So in row 1, we got Brian McCann and Kevin McCann. Row 2, Neil Quick and Chris Medford. Row 3, Evan Faust and Alan Warnecke. Row 4, Chris Wally and Matt Henry.
It's just one good thing about Indy. You got plenty of time to go through these starting lineups.
Absolutely.
Starting in row 5, we've got Josh Funkhauser and Brandon Mefford. Row 6, Paul Buzzle and Tim Schofield. In row 7, we have Kyle Steffens and Vincent Short. And row 8, Kyle Pendergraft and Jimmy Frazier.
In row 9, we got Brad McDaniel and Jeffrey Gilbolt. Row 10, David Tremblay and Dakota Clark. Row 11, Stoney Benfield and Cody and Jorgensen. Row 12, Ken Harper and Chris Quick. And that's actually going to round it out. So it looks like we got a little bit less guys here tonight. Probably missing a few guys on there as well too. Maybe some guys here aren't a huge fan of Indy. So we'll have to see. Most of the guys that are in the top 10 in points are pretty much starting up front. So this will be an interesting battle. And looking at the points as well too, besides Brian McCann being in the lead basically every race coming into it, there's such a tight battle through like 3rd to 10th. Most of those are up to like 4 to 5 points off of one another for each spot. So it is close, literally anybody's game.
Yeah, it's always exciting, and definitely makes these front drivers think twice before making a move. You want to be up there, but at the same time, you can't be too aggressive, especially early on. You don't want to use up that fast repair too early.
Absolutely, and again, not knowing how well these cars do here, so I'm kind of excited to see how they can wheel it around the track. But from what we saw in practice, a little loose off of most of the turns. I think these cars in general are just kind of loose. So as long as the guys can kind of keep it under control, we should see some exciting racing here. 60 laps, I feel like it's going to go by rather quick now that we have the admin cautions turned off, or iRacing cautions turned off. So we'll have to see if the guys can keep it clean. And this is a big track, so pit stops are like really not as important as any other track. Well, the way that I say that, let me kind of correct what I'm trying to say. You don't have a huge chance of going a lap down when you're pitting in Indy.
Yeah, you have plenty of time to come back out while staying on the lead lap is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And this long front stretch here, and we see the pace car coming off. And of course, the first restart is always done on the green flag, and then after that, it's going to be to the leader's discretion. And green flag is out.
Oh, we've got trouble already.
Wow, Benfield spinning out in the back there. I'm not sure if he had contact. No caution coming out.
That was an interesting start there.
Yeah, no caution there. We're going to keep this thing green. Brian and Kevin McCann bringing it into the first turn here, but side by side. Mefford right behind them as well. Neil Quick trying to find some room as well. Go on board with Chris Medford here as they're battling up front already, still side by side. And who's going to budge first, Brian or Kevin? We go through the line here. Evan Faust sitting in 5th, Warnecki behind him. Medford brothers up there still kind of battling it out. They're going to single file it up, and then it looks like pretty much the whole field back here is going to start going single file. Kyle Steffens, one of the newer drivers in the league, back here battling Brandon Mefford in the 83. Tim Schofield in the 12 on the inside of Pendergraft in that 14, trying to take that spot away. And like I said, a lot of room here to really navigate and overtake. Not sure how well the high side will work at this track. So that'll be something to keep an eye out. I mean, the big thing to note here is there's no banking on the straights. This thing is as flat as it gets, and you have very minimal banking in the turns. So I think that's where a lot of these cars tend to get loose, is just because of how flat that banking is.
Yeah, and I was told before the race that these cars, that for the setup, the stability is very good. We will see the speed slow down a little bit, but the cars shouldn't be that much more difficult to drive as the run goes on, which is a little different than what we have seen in the past with these cars.
Yeah, absolutely. And the little knowledge that I have, I mean, I race Truck Series here, and it wasn't bad. Like once you got your rhythm down and you found your markers and you knew where you were going, honestly, it's a fun little track if you got the right guys on there. But currently, I mean, these guys are keeping it clean. Single file is pretty much all the way through, except for Brandon here in the 83 trying to battle Paul Buzzle in the 9. I'm gonna try to make his way around Funkhauser as well too. But the guys are pretty much keeping it clean here tonight.
Yeah, so far so good. It's a clean run. Haven't had to throw anything out yet, so we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, we'll take a look at Benfield. He is only about 6 seconds off of Ken Harper in 23rd spot. So I'm kind of confused. I wonder what happened, if he had contact or if he just spun him on the start.
It looked to me like he was just spinning his tires on the start. Somebody, yeah, I guess it was him that got off to a slow start, and just some people behind him reacting. And yeah, just unfortunate, but he's been able to clean it up.
And up front, Brian and Kevin McCann still kind of running with this. Two guys that have been quick pretty much all season long. Real quick trying to catch them, but he's got Evan Faust on his bumper there in the 78. Gonna see if he can make some work on Quick here down the front stretch. And such a long front stretch here at India as well too. I want to say, again, not knowing too much about the track, the front stretch and the back stretch, that I'm assuming they're the same length, correct?
Oh yeah, exact same.
Oh, okay, so yeah, you get a huge run. If you can get that momentum through the turns and off onto that backstretch, I mean, you can get some runs going here for sure.
Yeah, it's the Brad McDaniel almost went around coming off of turn 2, but yeah, it's the second longest straightaway in NASCAR, second only to Pocono. So that's a little interesting fact there.
Yeah, Pocono is, man, that's also another interesting track as well too.
I love Pocono.
We got to check on Chris Medford here. He's dropped back pretty much all the way to 5th, and
we've got 3 wide. Well, not anymore. We did for just a moment. Brandon Medford was one of them. Alan Warnecki and Josh Funkhauser almost had some contact there. I think they were
Funkhauser is going to hit that wall to the outside right on board Warnecki here. Warnecki's going to try to go low, but Funkhauser almost comes down on him there. Luckily, given some room there, Buzzle going to the high side, trying to get around Warnecki, but Warnecki's going to take the inside right up to the door. Funkhauser going into turn 3, going to try and take the air away from that car. And then now they're side by side. Frazier trying to get in on this, up in the 12th spot currently, trying to work on Paul Buzzle in that 9, and we're starting to see some doored each other there. Warnecki and Funkhauser coming off of 4, still battling, coming down the front stretch. Warnecki, not sure what's going on there, trying to take the air away from Funkhauser, still on the front stretch, and then he might be able to clear him going into 1. And they are still there.
Yeah, there's some close racing going on right now. We'll see if they can get spread out or if they're going to stay like this for a while.
Looks like Warnecki finally gets around Funkhauser, but Funkhauser's looking to the inside, coming on the backstretch, trying to get to that quarter panel to slow Warnecki down. I don't think he's going to be able to get to him. Warnecki's so far going to secure that spot. A little further back, got a battle here. Paul Buzzle looks like he dropped quite a bit after Jimmy took that position away from him, now down to 14th. And he's got a handful with Kyle Pendergraph, Kyle Steffens, and Vincent Short. I'm not sure. I know Kyle being new, Kyle Steffens being new in the 08 car in this series. I don't believe he was at Gateway last week either, so I do believe this is only his second start in this league. Ooh, and just like that, Vincent Short.
And just had the 32 of Brad McDaniel nail the wall in turn 1, and yeah, Vincent Short really struggling with his car right now.
Yeah, he just kind of shoots down the off the backstretch there, and Brad McDaniel's going to take that spot back up front. Ryan McCann, Kevin McCann, a little bit of a gap between the two. Evan Faust took the position away from Neil Quick, going to bring him up to 3rd. Chris Medford still sitting in that 5th place position as well too, and Matt Henry actually up to 6 now. So he's making some work as well. Brandon Medford making a huge run as well. He's up to 7th, starting kind of mid-pack earlier in the race. So glad to see him back. He, again, of course, missed Gateway last week as well, too. But his brother ended up winning Gateway, which is going to be that 46 of Chris Medford there. So Chris Medford, 2 for 2. Trying to go for the little triple win here at Indy. Got plenty of time to do it, just chilling in 5th place and seeing where this is going.
Boy, Jeffrey Gilbalt almost went around coming off the 2. He was able to collect it, but yeah, very close call there.
And he's battling alongside Tim Schofer there in the 12 car, but pretty quiet so far. It's looking good. Oh, Short actually kind of slows down a bit. Goldbolt comes down and cuts the nose on Tim. Luckily, they avoided an incident there as well. And it looks like we're going to have a battle again back up here with Joshua Funkhauser in the 15 and Warnecke, as Jimmy's trying to get around him going into turn 1. So kind of the battle right here. Warnecke taking the spot from Funkhauser. Funkhauser coming back. Frazier trying to jump in on this, but kind of see there, he gets to that white line, gets a little loose, and Warnecke's going to get enough momentum off the turn to pretty much stay out in front. On board with Warnecke here. Let's see what Jimmy Frazier is doing. I feel like in the longer runs, now that once the speeds start to slow down, we're probably going to see less and less overtaking.
Yeah, that's how it usually ends up working. Is these guys, as the run goes on, you struggle enough with your car when you're by yourself, much less beside somebody. So, yeah, not a whole lot of overtaking going to happen right now until they come in and get new tires.
Paul Buzzle, one of the guys that's flirting with the wall a little bit. I saw him scrape the wall, come off of 4, a little loose coming off of turn 2. But he's gaining on Kyle Pendergraft there in the 14 to see if he can take that spot away. I think for most of this track, I think the turn 2 wall was kind of like, or maybe, yeah, turn 2 wall was kind of like the go-to point. A lot of people scraping off that thing as well too, coming down the backstretch. But the chutes here, interesting. The track layout in general is just interesting when you think of it from like a speed perspective. I want to say turns 2 and 2 and 4. Actually, turn 2 is probably the hardest turn at this track.
Yeah, I mean they're pretty similar, but yeah, I'll take your word for it. It's been a while.
Yeah. I mean, I'm again not knowing how these cars run here. Oh, jeez! And just like that, Brad McDaniel again. I'm talking about that turn 2 wall, nails it, coming off of 2.
Oh, that was coming off of 1.
Oh, coming off of 1. Sorry,
I'm can't give yourself that much credit.
So, when you start seeing the same turns and the layouts just pretty much similar, it gets confusing after a while.
Yeah, for me, now that it has been a while since I've raced at Indy, but yeah, for me, it has always been the short shoots, coming off of those short turns where I've struggled. I hit coming off of 1 and 2. Yeah, he is really struggling with that car right now. But yeah, that's where I usually hit, coming off of 1 and 3 rather than coming off of 2 and 4. Because really with 2 and 4, you're not going, you don't have as much, sorry, there was an incident.
Oh yeah, there's some things going on with Gilbolt and Patrick Short on pit road. Let's try to bring up a replay real quick and see what happened there. Looks like Gilbolt gets loose off of 4 right there. Comes back up, collects Short, and they just both nail the inside wall into the pits. Off of the racing surface there. No caution being thrown here for that. So we stay green. Both of them in the pits right now. Plenty of time to to get it repaired. That's for sure. You still got that fast repair. About 55-second laps going on right now, so plenty of time. Don't have to rush through it to get back out on that track and try to gain back some of those spots.
Right, still plenty of time. I mean, again, the long racetrack, plenty of time to make up that position.
Chris Medford finally making some ground on Neil Quick, who seems to be slowing down. Chris Medford's the only one right now, actually, yeah, the only one in the top 5 that's running the fastest laps currently. Brian McCann ran a 54.92 that time by his brother, a 55.1. And now it looks like Chris is actually going to drop down to about a 55.3, so now he is going to be the slowest in the top 5. So Brian McCann still finding some of that grip there on the tires, still staying steady with 54. He's the only car on the track currently that's in the 54 bracket. We see Patrick Short coming back out on the track, going to get behind McCann. Now, how important is the draft of this track?
No, I mean, it's definitely,
just like the front and back
definitely
stretch.
important. You know, it doesn't make or break your race because you do lose a lot of speed, obviously, in the turns. But yeah, I mean, it can definitely help you. You know, it's definitely better to draft somebody to have that drafting than being out there by yourself.
And of course, Short is going to have new tires, so I'm sure at some point Brian is going to let him come by. Hopefully, Short knows that he is about 2 laps down and doesn't race McCann too hard here, trying to get around him. But he does want to get that lap back as well too, and if a caution comes out, he would just have to get around Jeffrey Goldbolt in the 92 to get back on the lead lap. So McCann is going to let Short go by here. Back here a little further, trying to take a look. Kyle Steffens and Warnecke catching up to Chris Wally in that number 5 car. So Joshua Funkhauser kind of gotten away from Warnecke now. And Warnecke's back here battling. Well, Steffens is going to the inside of Wally. Warnecke's going to follow him, but Wally's going to shut the door coming off of 4. And I wonder, that's one thing I haven't really seen here too often, and something you see in Indy quite a bit is like that snake trail. You get these guys on the front stretch doing S's, trying to break the draft, and curious to know later on in the race when we get down to like those final 10 laps, and depending on how close we are battle-wise, if we're going to see any of that here tonight as well too. But 17 laps in, not a single caution, a couple of incidents that didn't warrant a caution just due to them being off the racing surface. So we've been staying green here pretty much the whole race.
Yeah. I mean, you were talking about the S's on the straightaways. Yeah, I typically see it for IndyCar, not as much for NASCAR, but yeah, you never know. I mean, any way to break that momentum for the draft, you know, that'll definitely be interesting to see if any of these guys try to utilize that.
So obviously coming into this, we haven't made picks in a long time. I mean, it's been kind of dominant, honestly. I mean, between McCann and Brandon, or sorry, Chris Medford and all of them, those guys have been pretty quick throughout the series here. Is there anybody besides the obvious?
Oh, come on.
Besides the obvious that you feel has a pretty good shot here?
I've been impressed with Evan Faust. I mean, we usually end up seeing him at the front for quite a few of these races, currently in 3rd, just a little under 3.5 seconds from the leaders. So he's definitely one that's been impressive. And then Real Quick definitely lives up to his name. He's been fast in a lot of these races as well.
Yeah, Evan Faust coming out from Gateway, starting 9th going into last week's race in the standings, now up to 5th coming into Indy, so he's definitely making some headway there. I was going to say, kind of alongside you, Neil Quick in that number 2 car, who's actually been doing really well this series as well. Still maintaining that 2nd place position from last week in the standings. Pretty strong showing. I feel like he's one of the guys that kind of sits back and watches everything unfold in front of him and kind of pounces when he needs to. But what I do notice mostly is his long runs seem to struggle just a little bit. So we'll have to see if he can keep up and get around Evan Faust, about a second off his pace here. Kevin McCann running about 3 seconds off Brian's pacing as well too, and then we have Chris Mefford, who's just trying to kind of stay in that top 5 position. Got plenty of space between him and Matt Henry in 6. So going through most of this, most of our battling has kind of been in this backpack here with Alan Warnecki, Kyle Steffens, Chris Wally, and all these guys. So it's about the closest battle we have on the track, and times are starting to get to that point now. We're probably, depending on what happens, we'll most likely see a green flag pit stop. So I'm curious when that window is going to open.
Yeah, my guess would be probably around the 30 to 35 lap mark, maybe even a little bit after. But you know, as much as these cars are kind of struggling right now, I think we'll see it pretty much as soon as that fuel window opens up.
Yeah, we see Chris Wally is really slow going into the turns here. You let Frazier and Pendergraph kind of by, but Kyle, as soon as I say that, collects that outside wall and kind of gets that magnet effect where he just can't get off of it. And we already got our first one.
Yep, yeah, coming down pit road. There we go.
Chris Wally finally coming down pit road, going to try and undercut these guys here to see if he can get anything. And again, 55-second lap times, 56-second lap times. He's got plenty of time to come down pit road, take those tires, and have a good chance of coming off and you know, not having to worry about being lapped. But at the same time too, with knowing how the McCanns race and how well Brian is doing up front still lap time wise, I feel like Brian could really extend his pit window much further than most of the other guys.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, and for Chris and anybody else who pits a little earlier, why not take that shot? You know, if you know you're only going to have, you know, a 7th or 8th place finish or, you know, whatever, why not take a gamble there? You know, why not take a chance and see if, you know, somehow, some way it ends up benefiting you in the long run?
Absolutely. And I think Chris Wally's positioning of where he was at didn't really help him too much, because he actually did go a lap down there. Brian McCann a lot closer to that start finish line when he was coming down, so he is going to be a lap down. Only 21 cars on the lead lap currently. Dakota Clark in the 34 going to round out that lead there, but right behind him Vincent Short, who's just trying to make his way back up past Jeffrey Goebel and now Chris Wally to kind of get on that lucky dog if we do have a caution coming out. He is going to have, Chris Wally's going to have the freshest tires coming off, so as long as he can kind of maintain that pacing, if a caution does come out, he will go back to the lead lap. But pretty much...
I'll tell you what, I was taking a look at Kyle Pendergrass. He must have been looking at his phone or something, because he got into the wall on the backstretch, like on the back straight, and pretty much stayed glued to it until almost halfway down it. So I don't know what happened there.
He's probably like, you know what, there's not a whole lot going on here. Let's pull up the broadcast and see what these guys are talking about. I don't advise it. If any of the drivers are in here and they're trying to listen to us and race at the same time, just don't. It's a funny story, because when I first started racing the truck series, I race on Friday nights, I was using the broadcast and totally forgetting that there's a delay from what I see on the broadcast and what's actually happening. No. I came out of the pits thinking the guys were still on the backstretch or coming off of like turn 4, and I pulled out in front of the whole entire pack.
Oh wow.
And they split me like the Red Sea. So don't make that mistake, because I was terrified, and it was my first time racing in my league, and the guys didn't know if I was going to be able to race well, and that's the first thing I pull off.
Good first impression.
Yeah. Luckily, nothing happened. Everyone made it through, and I about crapped myself.
Well, who was it? I think it was in the Nationwide series a while back. One car at Daytona, I think it was, they were coming off of pit road, and they just literally pulled out right in front of the field. Actually, I think it was at Talladega. But yeah, they came off of pit road and just pulled out, got back onto the track, literally right in front of the field, caused a big mess. And Yeah, that's definitely your worst nightmare as a race car driver.
Absolutely, and this is at Daytona. These guys are hauling, so it was absolutely terrifying. But while I was going down memory lane there, Evan Faust actually took the spot away from Kevin McCann, so now he is up to second, and Neil Quick is literally battling McCann as we speak, and McCann not finding a rhythm, at least Kevin. His brother Brian, though, on the other hand, a whole 6 seconds ahead of second place, and just making this track look like it's just easy.
Yeah, and that's about what we expected. And yeah, I mean, looking at Kevin McCann, yeah, he's fallen back to fourth, but he does have the fastest lap time of the race thus far. But yeah, Brian McCann really the only one who's still in the 55s as far as lap time goes, at least for cars who have not yet come onto pit road. So definitely an impressive performance by him thus far.
And depending on when Wally in that pink number 5 tries to overtake Faust, if that leaves Faust on that high side, that's going to open the door for Quick to at least try to make up some of that ground and get around him. So I'm sure he's hoping Wally and Faust kind of get into it here so he can make up some of that lost ground. Not too far off. So I could see Quick taking Faust here at any point. But right now, we've only had 4 drivers, actually 2 drivers now. Jimmy Fraser just came down pit road, coming for pits. So we'll have to see if their strategy pays off. Everybody else still about 26 laps on their first set of tires. They still have another set they can go through, and most of these guys typically push it to the halfway mark as much as they can, especially if you're running like a 2-set tire situation. And with fuel in this league, I do believe they run at 100% fuel, so they don't typically have to worry about that too much.
We are starting to see more and more cars coming in. I know that Fraser came into pit, I believe, 2 laps ago, and now Dakota Clark, as you see on the screen, is coming onto pit road. So we're starting to see that strategy come into play.
And somebody behind him, I just saw a black car. Was that Matt Henry? Yeah, Matt Henry also coming down. He was all the way up to about 8th, 7th, and 8th place there. So now he's going to fall back and go into the pits. So it looks like pit window's starting to slowly open up for some of these guys here, but again, McCann probably not even thinking about pitting just yet. He's got such a substantial lead right now over Neil Quick. Oh, speaking of that, Neil Quick taking Evan Faust. He caught up to him quick in the middle of all that. So now Quick up to second place. Faust still on his back bumper though, and again, Kevin is kind of dropping off just a tad here. I'm sure some of these guys are hoping for a caution to bring it down, but now 28 laps in, everything's looking good, and now Quick is going to try and make quick work of Faust and see if he can actually get back up there to McCann. 8 seconds back, I mean, that's a lot of time to make up.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start somewhere. So, Neil Quick showing that he's going to be competitive today, but still almost 4/10 slower than Brian McCann on that last lap. So he's up there in second, but still falling back a good bit.
And just to kind of give you an idea, these guys are running about 53-second lap times as their best laps. We're now on about the 56 lap time, so you're seeing a 3-second fall off happening on these tires right now, which is huge in a race like this. And I see Frazier coming out like a bat out of hell, but I forgot he pitted a few laps back, and he's currently scored a lap down. So starting to see more and more guys take that leap coming down pit road, and right now we're now down to 16 cars on the lead lap. So the battle for the lap cars is going to be pretty interesting to see who can stay on that, try to stay on that lead lap to get that lucky dog. Take a look.
Josh Funkhauser just announced that he'll be coming into pit on this lap.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was looking at him. Looks like he was battling Brandon there, but he's going to come down. Brandon's got a decent amount of damage on the right side of that car. He's definitely taken a couple of hits.
Cars that, they've taken some licks on the outside wall.
We got Joshua Funkhauser now from 7th place coming down pit road, trying to get her slowed down here. The leaders are looking like they're going to be going on to the backstretch here. So McCann almost at the end of the backstretch to kind of give you an idea where everybody's at. Alan Warnecki battling who was that? Trumbley? Yeah. It's going to be David Trumbley, who's a lap down, but he's going to try to use him to get to the 08 of Kyle Steffens there, who's sitting in 7th. Warnecki, another guy who has a really good showing, just unfortunate luck. So he's going to try to make his way up to Kyle Steffens there. Trumbley going by both of those guys with the newer tires. And I feel like, oh, we got Brian McCann coming down. So 31 laps in. So yeah, basically what I was expecting, splitting the laps up and going from there. Looks like Neil Quick came down, Evan Faust came down, Kevin McCann came down, so the leaders up in the front came down. Chris Medford, now our current leader, who stayed out, and he's going to see what kind of distance he can make. I think Chris is thinking that with the way that this track is, actually the race has been going so far, maybe he's expecting there to be just a longer run here for green flags.
Yeah, well, I mean, so far that has definitely proven to be the case, but you know, this definitely makes things more difficult when you have those old tires versus new. You just never know what another car is going to go out there and do. So yeah, I mean, if you're a lap down, you just have to stick with it, you know, try to get your lap back over time. And you know, I'm sure that the guys who were lapped might be, well, don't see, actually, yeah, I think Funk out, well, maybe not, I don't know. I'll be over here if you need me. I was trying to see if those two involved in that little incident on pit road were able to get back on the lead lap after
they have not
pit stops, but yeah, so far they have not been able to.
Vincent Short is so far scored 23rd with a lap down, and Jeffrey Gilbolt in the 92 sitting in 19th with a lap down. He only needs to get around David Trumbley to put himself on the lucky dog positioning, and Joshua Funkhauser is pretty close to being lapped by Medford. You see him both there, the leader in the back in the silver car, Chris. That's about the gap he has between him and that last car in the lead lap. So Brandon Medford, Chris's brother, trying to get up there as well, about 4 seconds
Paul
off.
Muzzle spinning by himself, going onto pit road.
Nails that inside wall. He's going to be able to make it on the pit road. See Kyle Pendergraft there coming on the pit road behind him as well too. Again, single car spins off the racing surface as long as nobody else is near him. Gonna not trigger a yellow, so he's able to keep it on pit road, and we are gonna stay green here at Indy. And Chris Medford still out in front, hasn't decided. We got about the top 5 guys. Alan Warnecki out there, Kyle Steffens in the 08, who they're kind of close to each other there for 3rd and 4th, and Tim Schofield in the 12 car still have yet to come in. And knowing Alan Warnecki, the dude likes to really push those tires. We saw it last week at Gateway. I mean, I think he went like 70 something laps before he even came in. So somebody's going to stay out. It's definitely going to be him. We got Tim coming in now. I see smoke coming off of 4.
Yeah, someone's having connection issues. That's all that is.
Gotcha. We got Neil Quick back here with Kevin McCann. And where is Brian? There's Brian. Up to 5th now, so
he did announce that he is about to pit here.
Interesting. So depending on what happens, I think if I was Chris, seeing as Brian's about 20 seconds off, I would probably pit pretty soon. Just because you're going to get shuffled around. The last thing you want to do is be a lap down, staying under green flag conditions as well too. You never know if you're going to be able to get that lap back. So, man, pit strategy here I feel like is pretty stressful.
Yeah, it definitely can be. I mean, it really gets confusing as a driver as to exactly where you are strategy-wise. I mean, you don't have time to sit here and, look at the timing screen and, calculate where you are and, what your strategy looks like compared to, the cars up at the front. So you just kind of have to just stay calm, just try to run your laps and, do the best you can. That's really all that you can ask for.
And we're definitely seeing a lot of spread out racing here. We got Matt Henry back here in 9th, trying to catch up to Ken Harper in the 81. He's going to have Vincent Short in the 150 in between them. Evan Faust up to 5th. Brian McCann up to 4th currently. So, man, Brian is just quick at this track. If there's anyone that I need to learn how to race these cars, I mean, honestly, Brian.
I was about to say, what do you mean quick at this track? He's quick at every
quick and
track.
yeah, but just in general, coming off of a pit stop, coming all the way in the back, and now he's up to 4th.
Yeah, and speaking of pit stops, we do have 3. The top 3 have not yet pit. I thought that Warnecki was going to, but so far he hasn't. So maybe balking when it comes to that pit stop. I'm sure he wasn't actually trying to fool everybody. He just was decided to wait another lap or 2 before he does it, as we do have Brandon Mefford coming into pit now. So the top 2 now are the ones who have not pit.
Yeah, so now we see both the Mefford brothers coming down pit road, Chris and Brandon there. Brian McCann is most likely going to be scored the leader here once he gets around Warnick. He's going to get a hell of a run coming off of turn 1 there. So Brian McCann back up to the lead. Kevin McCann, I mean, these guys not doing too bad, but Evan Faust and those guys back here as well too. Neil Quick, Kevin McCann still gaining some seconds every lap as well too. But now that Brian's got open air and nothing in front of him, I mean, he is just gonna put a murdering on here. And I go through, oh, and just like that, we got Schofield and Jimmy getting into it on the backstretch. Benfield.
And he's on the apron, so yeah, still he's out of trouble.
Yeah, Stoney Benfield just got completely rocked by Jimmy Frazier. Kind of back it up here.
And Chris Quick struggling with his car right now. He just got into the wall.
Take a look at Frazier. And this happened coming off of turn 2. Frazier goes to the inside of Benfield. Benfield's still there and just basically shoos him off the track. Frazier not even really affected by that incident whatsoever. And Benfield unfortunately involved in another incident. We see Frazier and Wally side by side here, battling one another, coming down the back stretch. And pretty much, yeah, the closest battle between 7th and 9th, Jimmy Frazier, Chris Wally, and Ken Harper. While these guys are battling out on the track, I do want to give a shout out to the series sponsors as well too. R&R Racewear for your racing apparel. You can contact them over at r-rracewear.com. Loud Pedal Gaming over at facebook.com/Loud Pedal Gaming. Check out his streams as well too. Ooh, Chris Wally in the wall and nailing the inside wall, but keeping her steady. So again, green flag is gonna stay out. And that's something that you definitely hate to see. Chris Wally, again, just more bad luck for him. Just kind of take a look here. We sort of had an idea what was going on, but it goes really high into turn 1, nails that wall there, and he just goes for a little bit of a ride. Luckily not spinning it too bad, but getting into that inside wall. And that's going to tear up that left side pretty bad. We'll go back live here. Going back up front. Neil Quick and Kevin McCann pretty close to one another, about a second off of each other as well. And from there, I mean, we're looking at huge gaps throughout the race.
Yeah, there's a good group of about 6 cars within, looks like about 3 or 4 seconds of each other, but that's really about it as far as you know, the action on the track. Just, yeah, really spread out at this point. Hey, I mean, you know, we were complaining about the cautions last time. Be careful what you wish for, because we're seeing that clean race, and you know, I know we could all kind of use a break right now, but you know, gotta call it consistently.
So far, how's the racers chat sounding? Anything?
Very quiet. Just
Interesting.
nobody arguing with each other. You know, during the incident that we did see, you know, had one driver said, you know, I thought I held my line, but you know, if the caution's not called, then obviously nobody is considered at fault, so no penalties dealt out or anything. But yeah, just an unfortunate circumstance there.
So Indy kind of changing some guys here, it seems. Last week we had chaos, kind of not really too bad, not really all over the place, but you know, here and there. I think Dover and whatchamacallit, what was it, Lucas Oil were probably the 2 biggest races with the most wrecks, but they're doing a great job. I will definitely give them that here at Indy as well too. I mean, we've had a couple of incidents, but luckily nothing major. We see Warnecke. Oh, Warnecke was trying to go to the inside of Pendergraft there. He gets pushed wide, and like I said, the width of this track really coming into play, allowing you to have a lot of room to kind of maneuver around. That kind of played out in Warnecke's favor. But while I was going through that, and Chris Waller was just having a little bit of fun on his end, the last sponsor I need to shout out is Hydrotech PC over at hydrotechpc.com. They do custom liquid cooling for PCs, fabrications, assemblies, all that different kinds of stuff. So if you're looking for someone who specializes in that, hit them up over at hydrotechpc.com. And again, huge thank you to those guys for sponsoring this series here as well. We see Clark, 54, a little slow on the high side. Now behind him, Dakota Clark and Stoney Benfield. I wonder, do we have 2 Clarks? No. Oh, no, it's the Quicks. That's the one thing we haven't figured out yet, if Chris and Neil are related at all. Kind of have like a brother showdown. That's what we need. We need a brother showdown graphic to see the finishing positions so far in the race. And back up front, again, pretty quiet. A 12-second lead between Brian McCann and Evan Faust, and the last thing these guys want to see is McCann winning another one.
Yeah, if you're McCann, you're loving this long run, but the last thing you want to see is a caution. We do have 3 or 4 cars. We're 3 wide with Chris Wally, Kyle Pendergraft, and Tim Schofield. Looks like they were able to separate themselves, but they definitely close call there as well. So things heating up a little bit here late in the race.
Guys getting tiresome, looking for some action. Finally getting it, and we get a little bit of 3 wide there from Tim Schofield, but now they're single filed back up, coming off a 2. See, Joshua Funkhauser is going to have some lap traffic here soon on the front stretch. Jimmy Frazier getting loose in the background there. These guys just kind of sending it a little sideways off of 4. Take a look at Alan Warnecke in 11th. Big gap between him and Kyle Steffens as well too. 83 of Brandon Mefford going around Cody Jorgensen there.
Jeffrey Gilbalt went around coming off the turn 2.
Take a look at that. See what caused that to happen. There we go, coming off a 2 right here. Yeah, 2 kind of being the troublesome spot, it seems like. Just barely.
Yeah, you're right.
Just barely tapping the inside wall there. Yeah, like I said, turn 2 in the truck series was like, always seemed to be extremely loose coming off. Which is weird because, I mean, the banking is, I mean, there's little to no difference in banking coming off of that turn. I just think the type of sweeping turn that it is like, the exit off of that thing is just weird for some reason. But I think what happens a lot too is these guys try to go down onto the little rumble strip that they have down there as well too, and I've seen that get the car bent out of shape when they're coming off the exit and cause them to go around as well. Go back to this little battle we saw earlier with Chris Wally and them. Definitely has quieted down, but McCann, you can kind of see him there. Wally getting loose in front of him. McCann is going to be able to catch Wally, and it's going to send him a lap down. He just got back on the lead lap as well too. So we're going to see McCann now. I'm sure Wally's going to try and battle to stay on the lead lap. But McCann, it doesn't even matter. Going to go to the high side and take that positioning away. We can look through the field. Jimmy Frazier up to 8th position currently. Brandon Mefford over in 9th. And so far, we still have all 24 drivers as well too. Oh gosh, Faust. Okay, and we got a car spinning in front of everybody on the back stretch. And he's gonna come to a stop, and we got our first yellow. And I'm not sure what was happening there. We kind of saw it unfold just a little bit. But I want to say, I don't know if Benfield was looking for a caution, but he definitely was testing Faust. Look at the 78 of Faust here with Stoney Benfield. Now Faust is 2nd place. You see Benfield block, Faust tries to go low, and then Benfield goes low as well too. We're gonna have to see it from a different angle, but it almost looks like Benfield was like baiting an incident. Let's right on board with Faust and take a look. This will definitely give us a better view. Again, Benfield being a lap car. Faust is going to go to the high side. Benfield comes up. Faust lets off. And yeah, Benfield just kind of staying there. So something McCann didn't want to see. 48 laps. Green flag runs. I mean, that's very impressive. For sure. Like, give it to the guys there. More than half the lap, or half the race in green flag conditions. Seen a couple of green flag pit stops, but now we're going to see pretty much everybody come down. So Brian McCann, obviously the front runners here all coming down. Joshua Funkhauser in. Don't think a single lead lap car is going to stay out, but we'll take a look, see if anyone tries to gain some positions back. So far, so good. I'm not sure if Neil Quick quit or if he is having some sort of connection issue, but he completely disappeared from the timing screen.
Yeah, Chris Quick has come and gone a few times.
There he is. Yep, I see him now.
Yeah, definitely some connection issues going on there. We mentioned that earlier. There have been several cars.
So Brian McCann's going to retain his spot up in first. Evan Faust second. Kyle Steffens third. Alan Warnecki up to third. We'll have to see where iRacing puts everybody after these, but man, we're already 10 laps to go. I feel like we just started. Kind of crazy. So it looks like Kyle Steffens and Alan Warnecki have made the decision to stay out. Now this is going to be interesting. Alan Warnecki only 12 laps on his stint on his tires. Kyle Steffens 15. And only will probably have 8 laps to go when we come to the green flag. No. Warnecki is actually deciding to pit. Kyle Steffens deciding to stay out. So Kyle, the only one on the lead pack here in the top 10 who decided to stay out. And seeing how well the tires have been doing here at Indy, I just don't think that's going to be a smart decision.
Yeah, definitely interesting to see the strategies playing off. We did delay the green, so we'll do one more caution lap after this current one. A couple of the drivers asking for that because there were some issues getting caught up to the pace car.
So delay start here. And that'll allow everybody to kind of mix up, but yeah, there's definitely something going on with Neil Quick, because now he is being shown a lap down and he is blinking like crazy. He's blinking so bad I can't even watch him.
Yeah, definitely having some issues.
I hate to see it. Neil Quick been in the top 5 the whole race, and connection issues are plaguing him. It's going to drop him back as a lap down in 17th spot. So 15 cars on the lead lap. Alan Warnecki being one of those. Looks like he's getting some damage repaired. Been on pit road for about a minute 34. Doesn't want to use that fast repair, and I mean, really, nobody's needed to use their fast repair. I think the only one is Benfield, who unfortunately had that weird incident at the start of the race. Gets into it with Jeffrey Goldbolt mid-race, and then kind of tests Evan Faust on the backstretch, and that's ultimately what brought out our first caution. That man right there, Kyle Steffens in the 08, deciding that track position means more than him right now, and depending on how this plays out, could net him a pretty decent finish. But Brian McCann right there on your passenger side, been extremely quick. We've seen him basically just leave no prisoner, and the gap between him and second place has just been astounding. So it's going to be interesting to see how this restart goes. Jimmy Fraser back up to 6. Doing pretty well. He was involved in an incident earlier in the race with who was that? Was it Benfield? I think it was Benfield on the backstretch, so he's able to get back up there to 7th, so he's opening the door there, and now we got 16 cars on the lead lap. Neil Quick looks like he got his lap back, so he is coming back around, and this is going to be a close one. I think Neil Quick, is that the backstretch? Looks like Neil Quick's on the back. No, he's on the front stretch. to say these guys are coming to the front stretch. So Neil Quick. Man, Neil Quick is so far off the pace right now.
Having one more delayed green, there's some confusion right now.
Okay, pace car is going to come back out. See the pace car. We're going to do one more pace lap. That should give Neil Quick time to catch back up to the pack here. And that's going to give us 6 laps to go once the pace car comes in. So kind of looking at your top 5 here, Kyle Steffens in the 08 sitting in first, stays out after 18 laps on current tires. Brian McCann in second, Kevin McCann in third, Evan Faust in fourth, Matt Henry in fifth. Someone who's definitely looking for a big win, Matt Henry. Don't really see him up front too often, so glad to see that he's actually broken the top 5, stayed out of trouble the whole race. So it's like Neil Quick coming through the pack. Yeah, I guess Neil Quick's connection issues causing him to lose quite a bit of spots, and that's why we're under a delayed green here. Now we got that situated. Have the pace car coming off right here, and Kyle Steffens is going to bring these guys to the green flag. He's going to have to pull something out to keep Brian at bay. But we'll have to see. And green flag back out here at Indy, and a great start on the top 4 guys. Kyle Steffen going to be able to take that inside line on Brian McCann. Now he's just going to have to try his best to battle. He's going to be blocking like crazy as they come into turn 2. McCann out on that high side. Kevin there in the orange car. Quick trying to get below him, but it's going to squeeze in between Faust and Quick. And then just like that, you see how fast those tires make a difference. Kyle Steffens on that high side. And now Faust looking to battle McCann. Has a great opportunity to do it. Oh, and who is that? It looks like Kyle Steffens hitting the outside wall. Nails that. Now we're 4 wide on the front stretch.
They almost went 5 wide.
Wow. Medford brothers, and that's going to send Henry up into the wall, and just like that drops all the way back to 12th. And now Faust and Kevin McCann getting to a point of battling, but man, almost 5 wide on the front stretch. Absolute insanity. You see Chris and Brian.
Things would pick up having a caution within 10 to go, so that'll typically happen.
Absolutely. We see Chris and Brandon Medford 6th and 7th position back here battling each other as well too, so you can stay on top. Evan Faust just hoping he can give her all she has and catch McCann. But man, McCann just, again, absolutely dominating Indy. Five to go here. Neil Quick up to 4th. Jimmy Frazier getting a position as well too, going to put him to 5th. Look back here, got a big group of guys back here. Pendergraph, Warnecke, McDaniel. All these guys on the backstretch battling one another right now. Schofield in this, and David Strumbly as well. Those guys side by side coming around turn 3. And Brian McCann pretty much checking out up front, almost a whole second lead on Evan Faust now. Up in second. As long as Faust can hold that position and keep Kevin McCann at bay, he can score himself a second place finish here. Kevin McCann kind of struggling a little bit on the longer runs, so I don't really see too much unless something crazy happens up front. Unless we get a caution, not really seeing too much that's going to be happening up here. Kind of back a little bit. Jimmy Frazier battling lap traffic. It's going to open up Chris Meffer to kind of catch him just a little bit. Right on board, Jimmy looking out the rear here. Let's go back to this battle that was brewing with Warnecki. Oh, and just as I say that, Funkhauser's around up into the outside wall, and a caution is out, and this is going to be interesting.
Oh yeah.
So again, as soon as we go check back on this little battle, we happen to catch a nice little incident here, so let's take a look and see what caused it. Right on board with Warnecki. See Funkhauser right in front of him going into turn 1. Warnecki just sending it just a little bit. And luckily nobody else involved in that. Right on board with Pendergraph because he was kind of there around everything as well too. And see just how close he was to Funkhauser when he came back up the track. Plenty of space. So now it's going to bring us to a green-white checkered, and that's going to open the door. I mean, the door is going to be wide open for the top 5 guys now. As long as Nilquit can keep his connection issues at bay, he might be able to pull something off here. Jimmy Frazier's, I know he's antsy to get a win as well too. Faust improving every race, not only on the track but in points, gaining 4 positions from last week. I know he's looking at a win to kind of propel him up close to the top 3, so I have to see who has what and if Brian McCann and that number 1 can keep these guys at bay. So 60 laps here done. It's going to be extended for our green-white checkered. As soon as we get everything sorted, I don't believe anyone's going to come down pit road. Looks like Brad McDaniel ended his night. So he is hanging it up and is going to sit in that 21st position. And of course, after after we get the green, white, checkered finished, stick around. We will have interviews for the top 3 drivers and kind of get a little bit of insight to see how they feel the pacing was compared to the rest of the series here. I've seen a lot of green flag runs, which is something these guys haven't seen very often. So we'll see how that kind of changes the strategy out on the track for most of these guys.
Yeah, sorry, just getting back settled down. Had to review that caution. Did have to give Alan Warnecki an end of longest line there. Just a little too aggressive entering that turn, but definitely a close call there. But yeah, definitely very interesting. I mean, Evan Faust, he's been fast all day. Same thing with Kevin McCann and Neil Quick. So this race isn't necessarily over. If any of those guys can get off to a good restart, if Brian McCann can make just a little bit of a mistake, then it could be anybody's race here. So, you know, let's not call it yet.
See Kevin McCann in that 3rd place position. See if he's got anything for his brother to take that spot away. But Faust, I mean, the high side coming off turn 1 and turn 2, the momentum off of 2 could probably help a little bit. We'll have to see what kind of run Brian gets. I wonder what the pace laps are like from here compared to Talladega, as far as timing goes.
Probably about the same.
Yeah, say 2-minute pacing laps under caution. This is going to be an interesting finish for sure. I don't even know what to expect at all. I mean, we had 5 wide the last restart just about in the back. So, man, it's going to be aggressive. This pace car coming in. And I'm sure Brian, yeah, right off the rip, of course, going to get that run. And Evan Faust battling Kevin McCann, trying to give him every block he's got in the book. Going to turn 1 here quick, trying to get there. Medford in the 46 alongside there. Even Paul Buzzle in the 9 in this battle as well, going into turn 2. Medford giving a little bump to Quick, gonna clear him coming off, and now he's working on McCann, and just like that, something we see quite often. Chris kind of chilling and relaxing, and then the last few laps just kind of comes out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, definitely. We got 3 wide. Oh, a car hard in the wall. They keep it together somehow. Whew.
I'm not sure who that was. Back up front, Brian McCann 2.2 seconds off of Evan Faust. So as he crosses the line, we're going to get the Loud Pedal Gaming white flag here at Indy. And now McCann just trying to work on Faust. Chris Medford trying to break the top 3 and take that spot away from Kevin. Anything can happen right here. Ooh, like Medford there might have almost clipped that outside wall. Coming into turn 3's last shoot, man. Medford gets a great run through 3. See if he can keep that momentum coming up into 4. Oh, he's gonna be able to get her under McCann, but I don't know if it's gonna be enough. It doesn't look like it's gonna be. McCann's gonna be able to hold that spot, and just like that, Brian McCann is going to be your winner here. Evan Faust in 2nd, Kevin McCann in 3rd, and Chris Medford just right there. So close. Got a great run off of 3, almost enough to take that spot from McCann, but Kevin McCann in the 133 able to hold him off. And man, what a quick race.
Yeah, a little. I think it was about an hour faster than the race last week, so that definitely works.
All right, like I said, stick around. We're gonna have the guys get here in the waiting room for some interviews. So speak with Kevin McCann. Hopefully, Alan's been paying attention.
Be fun.
Oh, we got some drama on pit road. I don't know what happened there. I think I just saw Trumley come out of nowhere and just nail Frazier. Oh, man. All right, see if Evan Faust is available. So while we wait for Evan Faust to get into the interview room, we are going to speak to Kevin McCann. Brian McCann just burning it up out there.
I think I just heard his tire or his engine blow too.
Yo. Okay, iRacing. Listen to me, please. There we go. All right. And our third place finisher here, Kevin McCann. Kevin, you got a copy?
Yeah.
So, green flag runs at Indy, something that's a little bit different. Kind of walk us through your take here tonight.
I don't like it. It's all about saving the right front, and Brian did it better than any of us.
Yeah, we knew that Brian was going to be the top of the class in this race, but boy, were you surprised at all to see how far he was able to jump ahead of everybody, or did you expect to be able to compete with him a little bit?
No, it's about what I expected. He's probably going to come up here and tell you guys he didn't practice, but that's a lie. He practiced all week.
So were you guys, I mean, it looked like you guys were kind of slipping and sliding, for the first half of that race, but were able to really do a good job of keeping things clean. Were you starting to think that this whole race would go green?
Yeah, it looked like that for a while. I didn't anticipate going as many green laps as we did there, but I knew once we had that first yellow and everybody side by side, and you had some people on old tires, some people on new tires, I kind of anticipated some wrecks happening because when the tires were a little bit older and then you cooled them down and then you got going again, it was pretty dicey.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how's the car feel on the long run? Because it seemed like while we were paying attention to you, it seemed like you were slowly giving off more and more time as, well, obviously with the tire fall off, but it seemed like it kind of impacted you the most up at the top of the pack because you started to have some issues with like Neil Quick getting around you, even Evan Faust battling you there as well too. How was the car on the longer runs?
Like I said, I wore my right front out. So those guys, they did a better job at, pacing themselves. I was trying to keep up with my brother. I was doing everything I could. So it finally got to where it wouldn't turn on entry hardly at all. In fact, when I pitted, I think my right front was at 30%. So it was toast.
Wow. Yeah, you were definitely digging there. Well, you come home with a third place finish, so definitely going to help you out there. I mean, you're third in points coming in, still trying to catch up to Quick, who's not too far off. I think this will actually help out quite a bit for you. While you're here, is there anybody you'd like to shout out?
I just thank you guys for doing the broadcast and Chris and crew for putting it on. And Yeah, and I guess I'm gonna thank my brother for dominating as usual.
Well, congrats, Kevin, and we'll see you next week at Nashville.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
All right, so
Success is starting to get to him a little bit.
what? Oh yeah, the little brotherly battling going on here.
A little bit might have a, like we've said it before, might have a little bit of a Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch relationship there,
Don't see Evan Faust in the waiting room and try to get a hold of him, but couldn't. So we're going to go ahead and bring our winner up here, Brian McCann, making it look easy at Indy. Do you got a copy?
Hey, how's it going?
Well. Look who it is again. So let us give us some thoughts. How was the night? Obviously winning the race, so can't go wrong there, but were you expecting those long green flag runs?
Yeah, when the admins made the change to the race format, going to race official calling the cautions, I knew it was going to probably be a little bit different and have some more longer green flag runs.
Did that
And
change
really,
the... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Al.
saying really there weren't a whole lot of incidents to really have to make that judgment call. It was kind of felt bad about the one early on, but yeah, I mean, just wasn't really enough to trigger one. But just kind of tell us about how your race went. I mean, I think if you're being honest now, I do want to make it clear. Kevin did tell us not to believe you if you said you didn't practice. You definitely practiced, so you can't fool us when it comes to that. But did you really expect to dominate like you did, or did you expect a little bit more of a challenge?
I've always been good at Indy. I've raced like the Indy 500 and the NASCAR, was it Brickyard 400, like the big official series several years back. So I've got a lot of practice here, a lot of track time here. So yeah, I figured I was going to do pretty good. And I did practice. I ran a race on Tuesday here with the other guys.
I was to say, you must have heard when your brother was talking to us, because he was saying if he tells you that he did not practice, he did.
Yeah.
Well, you made it look easy. You definitely had, I mean, you laid down quick time in qualifying as well, too. We kind of saw you in the beginning. I guess that first lap after your out lap wasn't looking too good, because we noticed you kind of parked it and then came back, and then all of a sudden you just laid it down. What was kind of like some of the key points for you tonight as far as like how you're hoping the race was going to go?
Yeah, I was hoping it would be some long green flag runs because that's where I do the best at. I'm not good at running cold tires, so those, green white checkers, always sweating on those. But on those 10 lap or more runs, I'm pretty confident at it. And I think you said there, I was kind of slow at the beginning, and that's strategy. You cannot use that right front. You want to, you can, but if you do, you're going to screw up your whole 30 lap run there. So that's why I think at the beginning some people were kind of catching me. Then I took off.
Absolutely. Well, dominated. You've been dominating pretty much all season. I mean, I don't even think you've left the top of the points and standings whatsoever. You got a pretty huge run on Neil Quick, and this win is going to propel you even further. So going into Nashville next week, what are your feelings around that track? It's still kind of new at that point. So have you been able to run any laps at Nashville?
I have not turned any laps on it. Nope.
Well, it's a short track, and it's gonna be interesting to say the least. So, congratulations on your win here again. And while you're here, is there anybody you like to thank?
I like to thank my gaming computer, steering wheel, modified pedals, and especially this air conditioner. If I didn't have this air conditioning here, I wouldn't be able to do this.
What kind of wheel and pedal set do you run?
It's a G27, and I took the pedals apart and inverted them.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, I say the G27 seemed to be like the popular thing amongst most of the guys on iRacing, so it's kind of nice to still see people rocking that kind of wheel as well. And I mean, geez, I couldn't even imagine if you were on something high tech like a direct drive wheel or something like that. I couldn't even imagine. You're killing it as it is already.
I use a direct drive.
Do you really?
I'm kind of afraid to touch one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
as you say.
it's definitely an adjustment. I raced a G27 for over 10 years, and yeah, making that switch to a direct drive wheel, it is definitely a big step up. You're if you have it set high enough, I mean, your wrists get sore, your biceps get sore. I mean, it's definitely a workout.
Yeah.
And well, again, Brian, congratulations, and we will see you next week.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Well, Indy in the books again, pretty quick. It's weird getting done so fast. I'm not used to it. My body's like, what are we doing? We should still be racing here, but yeah,
It should be caution number 15 by now.
No, they did a fantastic job. I'm definitely proud of how everything went, and of course, a huge thank you to Chris Wally for making this possible. Allowing us to do what we like to do as well. And Nashville is going to be hectic. I've seen some craziness going on there with ARCA cars and some other leagues that I've seen, and even some official races with like the Cup Series cars. So, man, Nashville is going to be you're going to have a handful for sure.
Yeah, should be a fun one. I've never I think unfortunately I'm gonna have to buy Nashville, but still, I've heard a lot about it. I know that a lot of people want NASCAR to return to it, so that's going to be interesting to see if that happens at some point.
Absolutely. Well, IROC Challenge Series done here at Indy. Again, want to give a huge thank you to R&R Racewear. Check them out over at r-rracewear.com for racing apparel and diecast cars. Loud Pedal Gaming over at facebook.com/Loud Pedal Gaming. Check out his streams, and of course, Hydrotech PC for specializing in custom liquid cooling PC design, fabrication, and assembly. Check them out over at hydrotechpc.com. A big thank you again to Chris Wally for putting on the series. We want to thank him every single time. We definitely have been enjoying ourselves, and we have plenty more racing here to do. Catch us back here again next week in the same time, 9 p.m. Eastern. And in Nashville, it's going to be a bumpy one. So again, thank you to everybody for watching, and we will